When you are a Barbie girl living in a Barbie world, you don't expect that anything could possibly go wrong. But as it turns out, Mattel's famous doll might have a bit more in common with cursed characters like Annabelle than we thought. Welcome back everyone, I'm your host Kennedy, and today on Most Amazing Top 10, we are taking a trip to Barbie Dreamland, or rather Barbie Horrorland. So hop in that pink convertible and let's go on an adventure, cause this is the top 10 evil Barbie urban legends we can no longer ignore. Starting us off at number 10, Yoga Barbie. So before I get into this one, I'm gonna start off by saying that I have to believe whoever posted this to Reddit is someone playing a prank. Not because it's terribly scary, but because I have a very hard time believing that someone could actually feel this way. But that being said, when it comes to urban legends, the more insane the better. Anyways, back to the point. This first evil urban legend was posted to Reddit by an uber religious influencer that seems to vehemently believe that the Breathe With Me Yoga Barbie is a gateway to being possessed by the devil. Now, listen, I of all people understand being a little spooked out by dolls, but it's the reasoning behind this one that gets me. Let me just read you a bit of what they had to say. Quote, "Satan always comes as appearing innocent. He will never come with horns and a pitchfork. This Barbie teaches you deep breathing. Satan is after the young people of the world, and he wants to use them and indoctrinate them for his glory. You cannot separate the poses from the religion. Each pose is designed to invoke a Hindu deity in the spirit realm. I have seen children get possessed by demons," essentially stating that all these Breathe With Me Barbies are vehicles for Satan, and that each and every last one will allow young people to be easily possessed by the devil because apparently yoga is satanic? I have many questions. Coming in at number 9, Original Barbie. The original Barbie, iconically dressed in her white and black bathing suit, debuted in 1959 and started a doll revolution that has not once died down in nearly 65 years. Now, for those who might not know, Barbie was created by a woman named Ruth Handler, along with her husband, and the dolls were modeled after the controversial Build Lily doll, who were, let's just say, not meant to be marketed towards kids. Now, that piece aside, Barbie dolls were 100% created for young people. In fact, Barbie, short for Barbara Millicent Roberts, was actually named after Ruth's daughter, and so she had a lifelong connection to her creation. And that is where this legend comes in. As the legend has it, this rare doll may be a bit more sinister than one might hope. Some say that after Ruth's death in 2002, her spirit clung onto the original creation, and that her ghost haunts it to this day. Which, you know, might not be the most evil thing on this list, but any haunted doll is creepy enough for me. Coming in at number 8, Ghost Barbie. In 2012, Mattel released the Ghost Barbie as part of their Haunted Beauty collection. Now I, for one, as I'm sure many of you are, am a big ol' fan of the Ookie Spooky, so at first glance this doll seems pretty sweet. However, apparently there is a terrifying urban legend that is attached to her. Legend has it this doll is not just made to have a haunted aesthetic, but that she's actually just as terrifying as she appears on the outside. It's said that the doll feeds off the energy of the owner, and while she may be harmless when you first bring her home, eventually once she has drawn out enough energy from you, she will begin haunting you. Legend has it she will watch you sleep and move around your room at her own will, but most terrifying of all are the legends that state she can invade your dreams while you're asleep and possess you in your sleep. I mean, if that turns out to be true, that would put her up there with some of the most frightening dolls in the world. Coming in at number 7, Hello Barbie. In 2015, Mattel released their most technologically advanced Barbie yet, and life was less in plastic and fantastic and more an episode of Black Mirror. Essentially, the Hello Barbie was designed to be able to listen to conversations and then reply to their query with one of her 8,000 2,000 programmed responses. But legend has it, it was much more sinister than that. Because this Barbie connects to the internet, allegedly hackers were hijacking the dolls to spy on the young users and steal their information. So when these impressionable minds were talking to who they thought was just their new doll, it could have been some creepy hacker guy who was trying to sell off their info. Or honestly, even worse. Plus, reportedly, the data that this doll collected was sent back to Mattel, and legend has it that Mattel would sell the data to third parties. I mean, top to bottom, it's icky, and it might only be an urban legend, but it would be so creepy if this ended up to be true. Coming in at number 6, Barbie Forest. So while it wasn't my personal experience to do so, I know a lot of kids used to rip the heads or limbs off of their Barbies when they were younger, and this is a legend that surrounds this very pastime. Legend has it a man was taking a relaxing morning walk one day when he accidentally stumbled across a forest that was filled with dirty old Barbie heads hanging from the trees, while their legs, arms, and torsos were scattered across the forest floor. At first he assumed it was just some kids goofing around, but shortly after stepping foot in the woods, he began to hear the laughter of a girl behind him, and every time he turned around, she was nowhere to be seen. Now, where exactly this creepy Barbie doll head forest is meant to be is unclear, but I for one will be running away as fast as I can if I ever stumble upon it. Coming in at number 5, Haunted Barbie. As the legend goes, during World War I, there was a family of German spies hiding out in the British-occupied Singapore. One day the British Army found the family and captured the parents, however the daughter managed to escape. Tragically, however, during the escape she fell from a cliff and died. Shortly after she was found, the townspeople built a shrine in her honor, and for years it remained nothing more than a tragic story. That was until 2007, when a local man who began having haunting dreams of a German girl leading him towards a toy store where there was a Barbie in the window, and from there the girl told him to bring the Barbie to her shrine at the cliff. Now, people have weird dreams all the time, so he probably didn't think much of it at first, but after the 3rd night in a row of the same girl haunting his dream and insisting he bring her a Barbie, he skeptically followed the girl's instructions and purchased the Barbie as was requested. The doll remains at her shrine to this day, and some believe this doll is actually haunted by the girl's spirit. Coming in at number 4, Barbie Possession. There are tons of supposedly possessed dolls out there. I mean, there's Annabelle, Robert, and Letta, just to name a few, but wouldn't you know that a terrifying possessed Barbie is a part of that group as well. Legend has it that many years ago there was a young girl who loved her Barbie doll very much, but sadly she passed away suddenly in the night, shocking her entire family. Now, of course, at first the mother wasn't able to part with her newly passed daughter's belongings, and so they stayed in her room for several months. However, a few weeks after the girl had died, her mother began noticing something strange was going on with her beloved Barbie. She would walk past the allegedly empty room at night, only to hear her deceased daughter's laughter clear as day. Other times she could swear that she had last seen it in one place, only to have it turn up at another end of the house. Eventually she became convinced that her late daughter had possessed the doll, and so she began to care for it, often bathing it, brushing her hair, tucking her in at night, and talking to her. Now, I mean, this story is kind of sweet, but it's also kind of creepy too, because we all know dolls can be sneaky, so while it may have been possessed, there is no way of knowing by who or what. Coming in at number 3, Demon Barbie. This legend surrounds a girl who picked out a Barbie doll that should never have made it onto the shelves in the first place. As the story goes, one day a mother and father took their daughter to the store to buy a new Barbie for her birthday. Pretty normal so far. However, when they got to the store, they couldn't help but notice that one Barbie stuck out from the rest. And not in a good way. There on the shelves beside all the other Barbies was a strange Barbie with all black eyes. And despite trying their hardest to convince their daughter to pick a different one, in the end, unable to convince her otherwise, they brought it home assuming that it was probably just a manufacturing mistake. However, upon bringing it back home, they quickly realized this was no ordinary Barbie. Their daughter became almost instantly attached to the doll, and not in a normal way. It said she refused to go anywhere without the Barbie, even from room to room, and that she was often found talking to it in a strange voice that didn't sound like her own. They were already beginning to regret their decision, and then the girl started to become violently ill, and so convinced it was the doll, they stole it from her in the night and burned it. The next day, like magic, the girl was healthy. I mean, I don't know about you, but that definitely sounds like some demon shenanigans if you ask me. Coming in at number 2, Spying Barbie. This one comes from Reddit, and it's less about a terrifying Barbie and more so just a super creepy story involving a Barbie. As Reddit user explains, when they were younger, they used to frequently play with their neighbor next door. Now, they mentioned at first they thought this girl was a little off, but they didn't really have any other options. Anyway, one day they went over and the girl asked if they could play a scavenger hunt, and so Reddit user said, sure. The girl hands them a clue that sends them to another room, they then find the next clue, and so on, until finally the second to last clue leads them back to the original room they started in, which seemed strange. They find the final clue and it says to go to where the Barbie is and find the bump on its head, and so they did. However, once they found the Barbie, they saw the bump on her head was a camera, and beside her was a note that read, "Daddy watches me and he's trying to kill me." Terrified, Reddit friend ran downstairs to tell the mom what they found, but was instead thrown out of the house for being disrespectful and told they could never return. Reddit friend immediately told their own mother what they found, but being a little kid and all, wasn't really believed, until a few days later when the neighbor girl who had tried to warn someone was found dead. And last up in our number 1 spot, Barbie Girl. If you have spent some time on the internet, you've probably come across several out there people who have what one might call an unhealthy obsession with Barbie. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a girly Barbie moment, but there has to be a line, and that line should probably stop long before we get to anything illegal. This next legend is likely one of the most disturbing things I have ever read about, and it surrounds a psychopath man. As the legend goes, there was once a guy who was so obsessed with Barbies that he decided to turn his basement into a real-life Barbie dream house. Except it was far from a dream. It said he would lure women into his basement and then kill them before turning their corpses into life-size versions of the doll, and from there he would spend his days playing with them. Now, I can only assume that there was also some intense perversion that paired with this, cause you can't convince me that he was just wanting to play with these dolls innocently. Like, there's just no way. Now again, this is an urban legend, so who knows the validity behind this all, but we also know of legit documented killers who had done stuff like this. So, I mean, it's honestly just another reason to not go into a stranger's basement. Well, that's all I've got for you today, friends. I hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.